What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley's friend gets roasted for embarrassing meltdown. Following Saturday's UFC 306 loss to Merab, Sugar Sean O'Malley and his team attended an after party in Las Vegas, according to O'Malley's friend Schmitty, who aired out his grievances with O'Malley, Tim Welsh, and others in their friend group on the Timbo Sugar Show. He felt out of the loop regarding the team's post-fight plans. In a 10-minute long exchange on Tuesday's episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, O'Malley's friend erupted over the situation.
There was a whole bunch of people that were all together and no one said, "Where's Schmitty?" I was seriously upset.
But did you text anybody?
I told 2 people to make sure to let me know multiple times all week. Sono, right before he walked to us to the arena, I said, "You let me know. Even if it's a no, let me know." And no one hit me up. And I'm not gonna, I said, "I love you" to both of you. And I'm not gonna, you just lost the fight. I had no idea what was gonna happen. I'm down. There was moments where someone could have said, "Schmitty," Sono could have said, "Schmitty, we're gonna be at the room here. I'll come down and get you." Not one thought was made about me. And I made the press conference massive. I went to Merab and Aljo to their face and backed up my talk, and I said you to their face.
Sean O'Malley then chimed in, saying,
"But my Michelle wasn't there, my dad wasn't there, Michael wasn't there. No one texted me. No, you didn't text me.
I text you, "I love you."
You said "love you, champ." I didn't see that. So in your mind,
I'm waiting.
No,
I'm waiting for a message.
I know. In your mind, you think we don't want Schmitty at the after party.
Obviously.
The MMA community was quick to react to the situation, with Kelvin Gastelum writing, "These things happen, especially on nights as chaotic as UFC Noche. Dude needs to let it go." Sadiq Youssef also weighed in, writing, "One of the benefits of a loss is it makes the clowns currently in your life a lot easier to identify. They show themselves almost immediately." Fans were also quick to weigh in, with one writing, "Sean is thinking of the adjustments he'll have to make after his loss while having to listen to a grown man crying about an after party." Another wrote, "O'Malley's got to switch the team up. Grown man crying about an after party invite." Will Harris of Anatomy of a Fighter also wrote, "Ain't no real friend complaining about this ish. Move your on." Another member of the MMA community wrote, "Holy ish, what a self-centered drama queen. This what happens when you have entitled friends that shouldn't even be around. Dude should cut O'Malley the F off. Who cares if you lost your title on the only sphere card ever? We need to party after. Y'all gonna celebrate an L without me?" Another wrote, "The crazy part is Sean invited this guy out to Arizona to live in one of his houses and stream when he was probably working a 9 to 5. And this is how you do Sean for not texting you after a loss?" One took aim at O'Malley's friend, writing, "That's a 30-plus-year-old kid that lived with mom and dad his whole life and never got told no. I like Schmidt, but he's got a lot of growing up to do." The situation was resolved with O'Malley and Welsh saying that Schmitty should have texted them to get into the after party, and the whole situation could have been avoided. From the sounds of things, it's all water under the bridge for O'Malley and his crew. On the topic of O'Malley, Dana White reacted to his hip surgery following his Contender Series last night. Kevin Ayola asked Dana White on how the UFC can prevent fighters from disclosing injuries prior to their UFC fights. Here's what Dana had to say.
How do you prevent that from happening where they're supposed to disclose to the commission and they don't do that?
You can't. You know what I mean? If these guys come in and they have something and we don't know, I mean, how would the doctors check for a torn labrum? You know what I mean? You can't.
When Dana White was asked if the injury played a role in Sean O'Malley's loss, this is what he had to say.
Literally everybody reached out to me that night and said, Sean O'Malley didn't look like himself. He didn't look explosive. He didn't look, all the same stuff we were all saying that night.
And then lastly,
not to take anything from Rob, but
correct.
What do you guys think about everything? Who do you want to see Sean O'Malley fight when he returns from his surgery? Let us know down in the comment section below. Moving on, Islam Makhachev fires shots at Conor McGregor. Last week, Dana White announced some massive news, revealing that Michael Chandler would no longer be waiting for a fight with Conor McGregor and would instead be returning to action to fight Charles Oliveira in a highly anticipated rematch in November. While Chandler and Dana White didn't rule out a McGregor-Chandler matchup after the Chandler-Oliveira fight, it sounds as though the odds of a fight happening have now dropped considerably. The way Islam Makhachev sees things, Conor McGregor returning to action is little more than a fantasy. During an interview with Match TV, he was quoted as saying, "Conor's return is already a fantasy. He tries to stay afloat with his language. He is more in clubs than in training. Should Chandler wind up defeating Charles Oliveira, he believes that he'll be in a position to fight for the title against the winner of the impending Makhachev versus Sarukian fight, which currently doesn't have a date set. During an interview with Russian outlet Ushatyka, Makhachev spoke about his return to action, saying, quote, "I have a small injury now, but I'm already finishing my treatment. I'll be ready around the end of the year, January, beginning of the year." With the UFC's final pay-per-view of the year set for December 7th, rather than the end of the month, it sounds as though a fight between the champion and Arman Tsarukyan may wind up targeted for UFC 311 in January. Max Holloway calls out the UFC for protecting Ilia Topuria. Back in 2023, before Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria shared the octagon, Volkanovski pleaded with El Matador not to take a #1 contender bout with Max Holloway. While speaking on the MMA Hour at the time, Volkanovski made it clear that he wanted to be the one to defeat Topuria. Now, leading up to his UFC 308 clash with Topuria in Abu Dhabi, Max Holloway has revealed that he believes the UFC never booked a fight between him and Topuria during the champ's climb up the rankings in order to protect El Matador. He spoke about the situation in a video for his YouTube channel, where he called out the UFC for protecting Topuria.
A lot of people giving Ilia heat for the strength of his schedule that he had to the title fight, but he did what he's supposed to do. He won, plain and simple. He beat a guy that I had 3 times at a crack to beat, and he did it. He had the shot. But I believe that UFC made me fight every other contender at 45 except for him for a reason. And we're here now, and I'm gonna prove come October 26th why UFC was shelling him away from me.
Leading up to the fight, Topuria has put Holloway and the rest of the featherweight division on notice, saying that anyone hoping to withstand his power better come with a motorcycle helmet. Kamaru Usman urges Merab to take Umar Nurmagomedov fight. Leading up to UFC 306, Merab made it clear he doesn't believe Umar Nurmagomedov is worthy of a crack at the bantamweight belt. While the undefeated contender is fresh off a win over Corey Sandhagen and about many believed to be a title eliminator, the Machine made it clear after his win over Sean O'Malley that he thinks Nurmagomedov should fight Peter Yan. Although the newly crowned champion is willing to fight whoever the UFC puts in front of him, he's made his desire to fight Davison Figueiredo well known. The way Kamaru Usman sees things, however, a fight with Umar Nurmagomedov could be exactly what the champion needs. During an episode of the Pound for Pound podcast, he explained, quote, "Merab is not afraid, but I know he's worried about a guy like Umar, and sometimes those are the guys that really put you on that next level. Merab might come out there and look like freaking the best we've ever seen. So I needed that dance partner. Colby Covington gave me that. And so that's what Merab, at this point, I think if I had any advice for Merab, it's to embrace that. You're right. When they did ask him that question, he kind of danced around it. As Merab's coach, John Wood, explained this week, in the wake of the fight, he has no problems with the champion defending the title for the first time against Nurmagomedov, despite only having 1 win over a top-ranked fighter. Given the remaining pay-per-view schedule for the year, a Dvalishvili-Nurmagomedov bout will likely be targeted for sometime early next year. Aljamain Sterling responds to Movsar Evloev. Leading up to their UFC 307 scrap on October 5th, Aljamain Sterling and Movsar Evloev have continued to take shots at one another, with Sterling notably accusing Evloev of using performance-enhancing drugs. This week, in a post on social media, Evloev took aim at Sterling, who recently launched a new rum company, writing, "Hey Aljamain Sterling, I see you in an alcohol business right now. I just hope you show up October 5th. I'm already in Utah. I'm gonna make you pay for everything you said." Sterling then responded just hours later, writing, "Yes, we launched August 1st of this year. I'll gift you a bottle after the whooping I give you for everything you've said as well." Heading into the fight, it's no secret that both fighters are looking to enter the featherweight title picture. Given the high-stakes bout, the trash talk seems likely to ramp up even more as we get closer and closer to fight week. Dillon Danis receives terrible news for defamation lawsuit. The defamation lawsuit filed against Dillon Danis by Logan Paul's fiancée, Nina Agdal, has taken a sudden turn. According to an attorney who had been representing Danis, the fighter has not paid him for his work. In addition, the attorney has also alleged that Danis has become uncooperative and non-responsive, and as a result, he no longer wants to represent Danis. In a motion filed with the court on September 12th, the attorney wrote, quote, "The defendant has failed to pay the firm's monthly invoices in a timely fashion and has failed to maintain the required retainer agreement at the agreed-upon level. This has been a recurring problem. In addition, defendant has become non-responsive to counsel's communications, including communications regarding orders entered by the court. Defendant only responded to communications regarding the issues referenced above when I communicated that I would be withdrawing as counsel." MMA Fighting's Damon Martin also provided an update on the situation, revealing that the judge presiding over the case has ordered that Danis must be present in court on September 24th for a quote-unquote conference regarding the attorney's motion to withdraw from the case. Paddy Pimblett breaks record. After making his debut on the UFC's lightweight rankings following his victory over King Green at UFC 304, Paddy Pimblett recently took on a different kind of fight. In a video for his YouTube channel, Pimblett filmed himself breaking the record for most bone-in wings eaten in one sitting at a restaurant named Furusato. Pimblett destroyed the previous record of 36 wings, eating a total of 47 wings himself before then putting down some dessert afterward. Here's what the MMA world had to say to Paddy about his eating problem. I thought he said he wasn't going to get fat between fights anymore. Homie will be obese as soon as he stops fighting. Bro, no wonder he's so inactive. Look at the ish he does. Conor was locked in and won championships. Come on, Paddy, lock in, fight and move up in rankings. You already in UFC for years. Gonna turn 30 soon. Time is ticking. This guy should be gearing up for another camp right now, and here we are. We'll never make it to the top like this. He has an eating for sure. So far, no word yet as to when Pimblett will be back inside the octagon. However, with his sights set on a fight with Renato Moicano after the upcoming UFC Fight Night Paris card, where Moicano will fight Benoit Saint-Denis, we should have more clarity on a potential return date for the baddie. Khamzat Chimaev changes his coach for health concerns after claiming that he was overtraining before, which led to him pulling out of his previous fights. Khamzat reunited with his first ever wrestling coach ahead of his fight with Robert Whittaker at UFC 308. He said these coaches have a bigger focus on rest and recovery and that he no longer trains until he's exhausted. Top comments. Why the hell would Tim be telling Merab to be patient? Like, LOL, he's there to corner Sean, not Merab. It's just very weird in my opinion. Tim Welsh needs to shut his stupid mouth. It is against the unified rules for a cornerman to speak to the opposing fighter during a bout. Even if it wasn't against the rules, it's still incredibly poor sportsmanship. Welsh is such a clown. What a horrible coach to act like that. Merab slammed this man's hip out of place, really turned him into an old man like Conor.